Howdy folks, and in this episode of the Smoogleville workshop I'll be reviewing these Makita cordless drills. So in this episode folks, I'm going to be doing a review of these Makita 18-volt cordless battery drills. And the reason I'm doing this, it's all very well, I've done reviews where we buy a tool, we open the box, we take it out, we test it, we make sure it works, we look at the general quality, and you know, and that's really all we can say about it. We don't really understand how well that's going to be performing a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years now, or perhaps even 24 years from now, and that's what's prompting me to do this review. You'll have seen me using these tools in, you know, almost every episode. Almost everything I build involves one of these guys, right? So let's just talk about this original drill here. This I bought, actually this one I bought 20 years ago. The oldest one, 24 years, is in that box there, and we'll look at the content and how it was shipped and what was in the box when we get there in just a minute. But this, like I said, I bought this. Started buying these drills 24 years ago. And the reason I remember that is it was 96. And I just got to the US and I was doing a job for my boss around the back of the house. And it required a lot of drilling and screwing. It was actually making some very large gates. And so what I decided to do, I went down to, this was San Bernardino in California. And so I went down to they've got a very big Home Depot in San Bernardino, and I'd never seen anything like it. You know, I'm a Brit, I've come from a much smaller country. We don't have stores like that. There's a lot of mega tool and lumber stores, you know. So imagine it was like Aladdin's cave for me, and I had beautiful tools everywhere. I just went, you know, my eyes were just the size of saucers. They were just fantastic. And what I noticed immediately was that and I'd been aware of lithium-ion technology for a little while. It was just starting to come out back then. But Makita, I think, were one of the first, if not the first, to market with a really good 18-volt battery system, lithium-ion battery system. And so, you know, and it was affordable compared to one of these would have been like a month's wages in the UK back then. It's you know, things are more expensive over there anyway. Plus you earn less there, so everything seems even more expensive. But when I came over here, I realized these things were quite affordable. And as an aside note, because I used to work as a professional carpenter a long time ago, even something like this in the UK was very expensive, and not all the carpenters could afford them, you know. And I came over here, and I think this is $20, you know, that would have been £40 in the UK, which is about, at that time would have been about like paying $60 for a hammer, to give you an idea. So of course, first thing I bought was an S-Wing. The second thing I bought was this Makita drill. Actually, not this one, like I said, the one in the box. But let's pull him out. Actually, let's look in the box. Let me show you. Let me give you the guided tour now of what was in these early boxes. I bought that first one, like I said, in 96 it was, and when you bought it, it came packaged with a charger, two 1.5 amp hour batteries in there, which take about 15 minutes to charge. All right, so they gave you two of those, and here it is. This is my original drill. And the only way I know that is I looked at the serial number, and this one is like a 00 something or other. So I know this is older because that was 05. So this is the oldest one. And it's still going strong. So you charge them up, and these are still all the original batteries. And they still work, as you can see. Plenty of power, we've got that little light still coming on. Loads of energy in the drill itself. You know, no noticeable, at least, loss of power over the years. And these aren't even brushless motors. They're just, you know, good old regular motors. And I've been working these things until you can feel hot air coming out of the vent holes here, and they're still going strong. And so, and the batteries have just lasted really well. I've got this one here, this charger here, and I also, the charger that was in this box is actually mounted on the wall over there, so for easy access for charging. But this is my portable one, so when I'm taking the drill somewhere I can still use this case, and the case is more or less hanging together. I've managed to lose one of these latches at some point, but no big deal. But the batteries are still going strong. These are originals. And you've seen me use them on all these different projects, and you know, I would suggest that these drills have had hundreds of hours of use over the years, particularly these two original ones here, and they're still going. And the batteries, one of the batteries now, because I got 4 of these, the original, because that's what it came with. When you plug it in, sometimes it says it's conditioning it. Right. But not always. Yeah, most of the time they just charge normally. So, you know, they still seem to have a lot of life in them. I've been able to add batteries to it since. You can purchase these, you know, longer life batteries. That's a 3 amp hour that fits the same, has the same fitting. It's the same system. And so that's the 3 amp hour. And there's another one that's even bigger. This is 5 amp hours. All right. And the batteries they retail around about $100 for the extended life batteries, and the newer ones, one of them here has a little gauge on it that shows you how your charge is doing. Still, you can see that there. That's showing you and that's fully charged right now. So that's nice as well. That's on one of the 5 amp hours. So the technology is just getting better and better all the time. Like I said, very powerful and still going. 24 years later, I had no idea. And like I said, I've used them on every job. These are and they're still in constant use. I don't put them back in the boxes because I'm always using them. And so, you know, and 2 seems like, you know, an extravagance, but the reason I got 2 was I would keep a screwdriver in one and a drill bit in the other. So that's how I tended to use them. And so I was using that system for many years, and still use these as drills, of course, because sometimes you just need drilling power, not necessarily screwdrivers. But more recently, I purchased this. This is I've had this what, 4 or 5 years, I think. And this is actually an impact driver, a cordless impact driver. Absolutely fantastic. And I would say I actually use this more so than I use the drills now. And that may be to do with the types of construction jobs I do, but I do, you know, I build decks and stuff like that, so I do a lot of that stuff. In fact, I'm building a deck right now out front, a little sort of porch for this workshop. And so again, this is being put to heavy use. But the beauty of these is they really drive screws. If you are thinking of purchasing a drill set, you can buy a combination of a Makita impact driver and a drill, and I think they retail somewhere around 300. Fantastic present there. That pack comes with a charger and some batteries, and so if you know someone who's into all this woodwork and doing DIY around the house, definitely think about this as a seriously excellent present that will last them for decades. I mean, literally, I can vouch for it. That's, like I said, 24-year-old drills, you know, and I'm not kidding. That's been in almost constant use in all those years. It's not like it's sat in a box for 5 years. It's been used probably at least every weekend. So now, just to educate you a little bit, for those of you who aren't quite familiar with the screwdrivers, because I wondered if I could, you know, what I could do with these. I wasn't sure. I thought, well, our screwdriver's a bit limited. Why would I want to get just a screwdriver? But it isn't. It isn't limited at all. First of all, let's talk about what it does, right? You know, with a screwdriver, and let's set some things up here, and I'll do some demonstrations. All right. Let's go with a traditional crosshead screwdriver, and I'm going to put that. This is how I was doing my screwdriving for many a year. So we've got a reversing switch on here, so that's driving in, that's undoing. So, and that's very conveniently placed, and you quickly get used to being able to unscrew, screw, unscrew, screw it in, all right, with your drill bit in place. And, you know, it'll do a nice job of driving a screw. It will also, obviously, we can load up drill bits in there as well as standard stuff. Let me find some screws to mess about with. All right, so let's try some stuff here. What this is going to do, of course, is just do some like a traditional drill. Just get it started like that, and then just press. I tend to dab at it to drive it in. Reverse the engine to pull that out again. Of course, we can run drill bits through that as well. Let me show you something I'm often doing is using these. These are definitely a very good drill bit too. These tapered. There's a tapered shank bit there with a countersink built into the base of it like that. So it drills a hole and countersinks at the same time. And again, I can use now to change the drill bit. What I do with this thing is you just grip this. It's quite good technology. This you just grip this. There's no need for a key. You just grip this, put it in reverse, and just hold the ring and dab the trigger, and it reverses, and the bit gets loose. Tuck this back in, switch it with. You see, I just switched it with my finger there, and then just hold the ring and hold the drill roughly central, and just let that. When you feel it grip, then just hold it, and you're done. Right, that's it, and that's in there. And then we can drill a hole, and I don't want to make a hole in my bench, so I'm going to try and drill over there like that. All right, and now we've got a nicely countersunk hole ready to go. We went right through and we missed the bench. Well, how about that? So that's, you know, drill bits and drilling. All right, and so this can do both, and I was always very happy with that, and still am. And at first didn't really understand the real value of these impact drivers until you get a stubborn screw, or you're doing a lot of screw driving, and then like when you're laying out a deck, then you'll want one of these. Okay, so and of course nowadays what you're looking for is this configuration on the end here. We've got a hexagonal shaft with a depression in it, which is how this grips the bit. So in fact you can just push it in and you pull it out to remove it. So you can just snap those in. And now the difference between this and the screwdriver is if it gets to some tight screwdriving, you'll hear it start to impact. So let's go into some fresh wood here. And this might be too soft, but again, let's see if we can get over a hole. Listen to this. I'm going to wind that in. Hear that? That impacting is putting a different kind of pressure on the screwdriver on the bit here, and it sort of has a pumping action, and it pushes that in. And it's ever so effective if you are. Particularly if you're trying to push in something larger than just a regular screw. And this is the first time I ever used one of these was using this configuration. This is in this case a 9/16 socket, which can be put in one of these. Not quite shaped right. Let's get that one. These are just the six-sided shafts for the drills here. This one's got, again, it's got the six-sided shank there, and then it's got the groove, which tells me that will fit directly into there, like that. What is that, 1/2 inch or something? And that I can use that to drive, screws with large screw heads on. A lot of versatility. Of course, the drill bits can also go in there. I can click that in there like that. There's my screwdriver bit, and so I'm easily able to use that as a drill bit too. Maybe mincemeat of that knot there. Okay, and so like I said, I bought this about 4 or 5 years ago, and right after I purchased this one, I started seeing the brushless technology. And so I needed an excuse to buy a brushless one, so I bought this one for Crystal. And because we're very often working on jobs together around the yard here, and if there's a lot of screwdriver work involved, you know, one of us would use this one, and one of us would use this. And we really needed that extra screwdriver to drive this. So this is officially Crystal's screwdriver. This is brushless, and the reason this was a good choice for Crystal was because the handle's a good size. It's about the same as this actually, but the weight is different, very different. You know, without these are definitely brushed motors are definitely heavier than the unbrushed ones. The brushless ones, so you know, oh yeah, it's nearly half the weight actually. I'd say that, you know, that's quite significantly lighter than until you put the battery on than this technology. So again, another leap has happened in the technology, and this one here, that's what you'll find available to you now. And there's some additional technology on this as well. If I move this block out the way, let's pull this back so both cameras can see it. There's a switch on here, and you can actually go between hard or soft, basically, is what the H&S stands for. And so what that means is, you know, if it's really heavy duty, I can set it on a harder action, or I can soften it down, but it defaults to both being off, and then you can just introduce both, which will give you a much harder impact driving than when you drop down to a soft impact. So if you're doing lighter work, you can drop it to a softer impact, and it will manage that just nicely. So there's some adjustment in the energy. So that's obviously some technology that the brushless motors have allowed them to introduce to the drills. So there it is, folks. What more can I say? I would not be surprised. I mean, brushless motors last longer than regular motors, so I would not be surprised if my grandkids aren't using this thing, you know, because it's gonna just go for years. And you know, I don't see any reason why it shouldn't. I mean, I think all of these tools, if they're as well made as these originals, I think you've got yourself a gift that's going to keep on giving right there. And so either, you know, treat yourself to one, or buy one for your significant other. Whatever excuse you need, go with this. Now, you know, like I said, I bought Makita because I think they were the first, or one of the very earliest to bring out this technology. But you can buy, if you like Milwaukee, they've got a great range too, and of course DeWalt have some very nice tools as well. Now, I can't talk about those. I don't actually own any of those cordlesses, because once you get into a system, you tend to stick with it, right? And because I've got, and you will have seen them in videos past, I've got blowers that use the same battery system. I mean, there is a wall chart of options here. I've got a battery powered Sawzall, and what they've even done with some of these is, and there's a skill saw over there as well. They've got to the point now where they're allowing you to double up on the batteries, and then you can use them in things like miter saws. There's now a Makita battery powered miter saw. You put 2 of those batteries in there. That's to get to 36 volts, and that's just a tremendous amount of energy. And so, you know, it just keeps getting better and better, folks, and more and more exciting. So we are definitely spoiled these days. Right, I thought I'd do a little experiment now. We're going to have a little race here, and I'm joined by my buddy Me, who's gonna help me with this little competition. So welcome to the workshop, Me. Good to have you with us. Now, what I'm going to do... Oh, yeah, you're welcome. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this screwdriver. You're going to use that wrench, okay? And we're going to see who can wind this in the fastest. and find out whether this has got enough power to wind it in. So, you know, that is guaranteed it will go in. This, I've not tried this before, although I have used impact drivers on this kind of thing before. But we've got hex head bolts there. We're going to wind into a pre-drilled hole. You've got one there too. And I bought this Makita set, and that runs from like 5/16 to 7/8, and got all the sizes in between. It comes with this little fitting as well. So what you can do is snap that into the drill like that. I think we need the 1/2 inch for this one. And snap that in where the let's line up where the ball bearing is. So it'll go in and snap in, and then that should. Yep. Okay. Right. So let's do the competition, shall we? Right. Okay. On your marks. Get set. Go. Well, there you go. That was fun, wasn't it? Tosser. Anyway, there you go, folks. That was a review of these different Makita cordless drills and screwdrivers, impact drivers, I suppose is a better term for them. So definitely, if you're in the market, definitely consider the Makitas, because the one thing I can say is they're very well made, and they just keep going. I mean, 24 years. It speaks for itself, doesn't it? Anyway, folks, hope you found that helpful. We thank you for subscribing. I know I've noticed I get a lot of messages on my phone popping up these days that new folks are subscribing all the time, so we're always happy to have you with us. Thanks for joining us, and we appreciate your subscriptions, and we'll keep putting the videos out so you can be entertained or educated, maybe, if you're lucky, by one of these videos. So there you go, folks. Take care, stay safe, and we're coming right up on Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving, folks, and happy holidays, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, and not to forget Mr. Smoogleville there. And so it's good night from me, and
it's good night from him.
We'll see you on another episode of the Smoogleville Workshop. Thanks for watching. Please click the like button if you found this episode helpful, and we'd love to have you as a subscriber, as there's always something interesting going on in the Smoogleville Workshop.
Night all. Lights. Don't forget to turn off the... Great. I don't have eyelids, so I'll be awake all night now.